Hi, my name is Dennis Spurling. I'm not a lawyer, but my daddy is.
Yeah, if you've been hurt in a car accident, call my daddy.
No need to scream and yell like a little kid.
Yeah, no yelling.
My daddy will fight for your rights.
Yeah, fight for your rights.
If you've been involved in a car accident, call my daddy, Attorney Dennis Spurling.
Hello, I'm Attorney Dennis Spurling. If you've been injured in a car wreck, call me at 713-229-0770.
Call my daddy, daddy.
Black chicks in their place.
Damn. That's huge.
I get it.
You say that black women are messing with your mom? Or you say your mom's in the hospital? Oh, they're messing with the country.
That's so.
Okay, all right.
So the black male needs to say,
Well, let me hold that thought. Let me order this food real quick.
to wrestle the black female and tell her and put her in her place. Because if you don't, she's just gonna
Right.
she's just gonna, I don't know, she's just gonna, mess it all up.
First of all, our black women are strong.
I know that.
We got strong black women in this world. Yes, indeed. And the black women in this country, in this world, is not the problem.
Yes, they are.
Because when you talk about it, you talk about my black mother.
No.
You talking about my black sister. You talking about my girlfriend. You talking about everybody. Now I don't know what's going on with your mom.
Yes. No, sir.
I don't know what's going on with your mom, but my condolences to whatever's going on with your mom.
You got black chicks that are like that, okay? They need to be reined in. I'm serious.
These ladies over here would love for you to join them.
Okay, right on.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, you have a nice day, okay?
I gotta ask this question. Because you're on this show with the cocktails with the Queen. And there's a reason for that. It wasn't to have you defend or not defend Donald Trump. It was about, I care about what's in this contract with Black America for women. And it's not, we're not mentioned at all in the contract with Black America. And
you are mentioned. I mean, when you mention black people, you mentioning black women. So don't count yourself out.
No, that's not true. That's like administration say that when they
black people is not black women. Black
women
women are not included in black people.
No,
But
that's like that's like you saying. That's like when the president says minorities, then he's including black people. But we all know that's not the case. Black women have specific needs that are not also being met. And we also feel that there should be some things that are specific to us in our plight as well. And
I understand that.
I feel like as a black man, you can lead.
No,
I feel like
I just offered y'all to write a section up for it. I just said I don't mind if you guys help us. If you guys help us write a section. No, I've been open to all kind of experts in putting this together. It wasn't just me. We dealt with experts in all fields of this contract with Black America. So we're willing to deal with experts in the section when it comes to women. So that's no problem.
Okay,
It's gonna be a lot of people that's not gonna want me to tell y'all, you know, that I'm getting ready to tell y'all now. Men, you need to watch who you fucking with. I'm in a whole lot of witch, oracle, empress, black women coming into the craft type group. I've seen hundreds of pictures of you dudes. Do you understand me? That these women is putting inside of these groups, and on full moons and on new moons, they straight up casting full flat out spells on y'all because y'all out here being dirty. Look, black men, tell that woman if you fucking around with somebody else. Like they straight up fucking y'all lives up, and y'all think it's some invisible God out here making you have car accidents, making you be being stuck to a woman, and you can't ever let her go, and you can't ever get away from her, cause she didn't put blood in your motherfucking food. She got your picture in the middle of a group with hundreds of other little young ass witches that ain't got no guidance, that ain't got no type of structure and discipline over them, and they just casting. You got 30 to 100 motherfucking women, y'all. Sitting here saying, drive him into hell. May he pay for what it is that he did. I'm saying you done pissed her off today. When you out here dating these women, you need to ask them what the fuck they believe in. I don't care. Just because she a Christian do not mean that she is not playing around with her witch friends in blood magic, the power of blood. Do you understand? Black women don't believe that motherfucking Jesus Christ shit. We know what the fuck our blood do. We have always known. I'm telling you, black men, watch who you fucking with. Almost every black woman know that if she want a man to put blood in his motherfucking spaghetti, put that shit in his motherfucking tea, whatever, they out here doing it, and I'm watching them. Black men, y'all better watch y'all motherfucking selves and start getting y'all life right. Quit playing with these women out here. They sinking y'all. All y'all asses either locked up. Y'all in some fucked up shit out here. The future of the black man, these young black men, it's not fucking looking good. Like, y'all need to get into y'all wisdom, into y'all own motherfucking knowledge, and find out who you are, find out who your ancestors are. Y'all out here fighting against shit y'all don't even know y'all fighting against. Like, this shit powerful as hell. Watch yourselves. Watch who y'all date. Check your motherfucking food. Check your teeth. Check your motherfucking toothbrush. Don't let no motherfucking body get no hair. Hey, y'all better protect yourself. That's as much as I can tell you without going into other shit. Fucking save yourself.
What's up? What's up? Wake your ass up like a 38 snub nose to the side of your head, straight out your sleep because your girlfriend caught you sleeping with another woman. What's cracking, y'all? This is Uncle D, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Shout out to everybody who waited for this extra delayed broadcast, man. I know I was supposed to come on a few minutes earlier, but you know what? I got a treasure coming up for you guys later on. Let me tell you. Now, I'm going to go through this long-winded diatribe because, it takes me a while to land this 747. But as I tell you guys all the time, I'm like Overwatch. And shout out to all my military folks. I'm like Overwatch. I provide cover. Men like you provide cover for special women who are now able to come out and ally themselves with black men. Okay? Now, I'm going to save her for the time when I would normally let you dudes get on here and bump your gums, because I know at the end of the day, all of us got that queen mother goddess simp chip, and y'all much rather hear what she has to say than me, okay? Now, without further ado, and when you do, you'll listen to it because y'all been brainwashed by your mamas, but nevertheless, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Christopher Williams. Let's go ahead and get this thing cracking. Everybody in the wrench mob, y'all folks with the make sure I keep this chat room clear. Hit the number 1 button if you can hear me clearly. Now this is what I want you guys to understand. You saw the thumbnail, right? And what does the thumbnail say? Right? You get the point of where I'm coming from. But before we do this, brothers, I want to establish something. I want to explain something to you. I am not your leader. I am not the face of Passport Bros. Hell, I don't even travel much anymore. I got a family. All right. I got kids. On top of that, I'm not even the leader of SYSBM, Save Yourself Black Man. Shout out to TJ Patterson. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I do support you leaving the community if you want to. And I also support you staying in the community and fixing it if you want to. That's not my choice. I'm simply an advocate for Black men. What does that mean? Anybody run up, I'm going to knock their ass down. That's what I do. Okay. I'm unabashedly, and for the whole time, all I do is point out facts and I hold people accountable and I tell the truth. Those who attack us, I give them the smoke. That's it. That's all I do. And we need more men like me because this is a very difficult job. All right. Now, some of you are saying, well, Uncle D, you are a leader. I'm not your leader. And some of you are saying, well, leaders are chosen by those who follow them. You know, that's what you say. And maybe this is one of those times nobody took a vote. I didn't even run for office. Some say the best leaders are people who didn't want to lead, right? Right? They're supported by followers. They're pushed into leadership, right? That's what they say. Some say being a leader is a selfless act that few can manage and without becoming corrupted. You guys know that I do this because I love myself. I love my sons, and I don't want them to have to inherit the burden that we inherited, right? Here's the thing, though. And I know you guys are yearning for strong leaders, right? Not just Black men, but all Black men. But here's the thing you got to understand, fellas. The code doesn't require a leader. The code is the leader. The code is what you need to follow. Each person, each man must pick up what's being put down, wash and rinse and keep what's good. More importantly, you conduct yourself with dignity and you conduct yourself with honor. We need grassroots movements. This is what we need. We need to defend ourselves on multiple fronts: the legal field, political, social, economic. Every man is his own leader. This is where I'm at, and this is what I'm teaching. Because, see, you need to be your own boss. It's kind of like La Cosa Nostra. Then we come together and we sit at a round table, but nobody's actually the head. The agenda is the code. That's the code of conduct. That's your leader. Black men, brothers, I'm your Uncle D. I love you, but I'm not your dad's. I'm not your daddy. I got my own kids. I need you men to step up and be the men you need to be because, see, here's the thing. When one person that you consider as a leader is neutralized, then the whole thing breaks apart. But if you have a code, if Black men are following a code, then guess what? You can't break it's inevitable. You know, it's going to happen. When you find yourself with a wife, you be the leader of that woman and you follow that code that you have, and that will lead your decisions. See, the leadership role, the leadership role is unnecessary if you follow a code. Okay. And so just think about that. Now, that said, you know, I respect the brothers. I respect the smart brothers, and I appreciate you, brothers. And I know you want to lump me in with certain groups, right? The thing is, I've been traveling before Passport Bros even existed. But see, the one thing I noticed is that when you get groups of specific people with ideals, you always have those destructive members. It's the same thing that happened to feminism. It's the same thing that happened to pro-COVID, anti-COVID. It's the same thing that happened to the divestment movement and the SYSBM movement and the Passport Bros movement. It's the same thing that happened in the civil rights movement. Happens all the time in fraternities and sororities. Okay? Anybody can join. And inevitably, what will happen is you'll have extremists come in. And that's why I had to depart the manosphere. I had to separate myself from those extremists in the manosphere and the Black manosphere because it was diluting my objective. And that is solely to be an advocate for Black men and Black boys. Now, what do I do here, brothers? I preach a freedom doctrine on this page.
The shackles of physical and mental slavery have been removed. And you black men are free to explore the world if you so choose. And anyone who gets in your way is your enemy. And therefore, they're my enemy because I am your advocate. Those who help you are your allies. And that's in part what we're going to talk about tonight. Now, your allies is not necessarily somebody that you love to death, you've been knowing a long time. There's someone who helps advance your interests. Now, here's the thing you got to understand. A lot of these motherfuckers hate me. Why do they hate me? They hate me because I defend black men and black boys. Now, here's the thing I know. As a black man, they're going to hate me anyway. So fuck them. I just want to be honest about it. See, I do my best to get these hoes and these save-a-hoe simps a reason to hate me. Why? It's a gift. It's a gift. It's pure honesty. I much rather have real hate than fake love, because fake love is what kills more people than real hate. You know the people that hate you. You can operate accordingly. It's those ones who fake like they love you and they actually hate you. And that's what a lot of black men have fallen for over the past decades. Now, here's the other thing I want you to understand. And y'all hit the number 1 button if you can hear me. Hit the number. I know I'm on the soapbox and we got a guest coming in, but I want y'all to just hear me out. I understand to so many of you guys that I've fallen into the role of anti-hero. And this is for millions of black men who follow my page. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I understand why you appreciate what I'm doing, because over the years, many of you black men have been abused. You've suffered degradation. And these people continue to bash you. What I do is I defend you and I teach you. And I teach you how to return fire. Like many of you, I've been hurt. Like many of you, I had a troubled youth. Like many of you, I've been subjected to the media that tries to play on your emotions and your self-esteem, calling us thugs and criminals, even though it's undeserving, putting us in a perpetual state of fear, having us grow up in these ghettos and different places, which cause many of us to have PTSD. The difference is, fellas, instead of internalizing it, I've always found a positive way to expel that negativity. Either I sell it through books and these conversations that we have, or I use it as fuel to push myself to higher heights. Now, see, the difference between me and our good brother Kevin Samuels, God rest the Godfather, he was a kind man. And he loved and believed that he could actually change these rotten ass broads. He thought he could reason with them. He thought he could change them and make them better. I don't believe that. And in fact, I don't believe that they understand anything other than pain, suffering, and abuse and degradation. And that is the only thing that's going to force them to change, because internally they don't want to. So that's the difference between me and Kevin Samuels. I'm not Kevin Samuels. He was a kind man. I am not. Now, the difference between me and the young brother Andrew Tate, a person who I like a lot, and I appreciate his advocacy, that he's a young man and he actually still believes that the world is fair. I don't believe that the world is fair. I believe that the world belongs to whoever is strong enough to take it and hold on to it. In this regard, I am mean and I enjoy being ruthless. And it's people like me who end up living a long time and imposing their will on others. Now, that sounds tyrannical, but the difference between me and tyrants who are in that mindset is I submit to the will of the Most High, and I use his teachings as my moral compass. More importantly, I am not here to rule over you. I'm simply here to advise you. I'm simply here to suggest to you this is an avenue that you can take. And after that, it's your decision, because again, I am into your personal freedom, because I don't want anybody impinging upon your freedom, because I want that to be the spoken understanding amongst all black men, all men in general, but specifically amongst all black men who wore these shackles for so many centuries, these shackles of mental slavery. Now, the other thing I want you fellas to understand And this is largely having to do with that queen mother goddess simp chip that I always talk to you brothers about. Most human beings want to be loved. And like most human beings, most black men want to be loved. The problem is, fellas, right, that society is running into now is that there are many other black men like myself who don't seek love or approval from the community. And this is what makes us dangerous, because we cannot be controlled. And so because of that, they hate us. It's like being the black sheep. You don't follow the rest of the flock, so you're severely hated. But I want you to wear that proudly. In fact, I don't want you to be loved by these degenerate hoes out here. Don't seek their approval. You don't need their cosign in matters. Instead, it would be better for you to be loved and appreciated by good quality people. As a man, it's better to be respected than loved anyway. You achieve respect by punishing those who would disrespect you. You punish them by separating them and removing your time, attention, and resources from their disposal. And then what do? Then you flourish. You show them this is what you're missing out by disrespecting me. See, love is the only emotion that's more dangerous and uncontrollable than anger for men, because it also leads to an uncontrollable anger. You know that little heart skip you feel when you think about your ex-girlfriend who was supposed to be loyal than you smashing someone else? That's one of those effects of that mental disorder we call love. And if you don't control it or suppress it or minimize it, it'll ruin you. It's worse than an irregular control, because it can trap you. It traps itself in your mind, and that can also destroy you within. See, love, fellas, love is passive. Hate, on the other hand, is active. In this regard, it takes more for my enemies, more of their energy to hate me than it takes for my friends to love me. And what do I know? What have you found out? Just following my page. I found out that these black men hating hoes and simps, they give me all their energy. They give me all they can. They spend time making videos about me. They come to my page and say things. I've had some threaten to write the bar. Some others have written the bar. They done call people all across the nation to give me call, to threaten to call the politicians on me. Because why? Because I'm hitting them with these facts and I'm unapologetic about it. See, when the Most High is on your side, nobody can be against you. And when you know who your enemies truly are, the hate is less impactful. So I just call them out on it. See, most black men in this country need to have this same energy. And if we had this same energy, we could fix this raggedy ass toxic culture that we have. That said, I ask that the Most High shield me and every one of my other brothers who are at war with this degenerate culture that has taken over the black nation. May the Blizzard King and the Ice Lords, which is you all, who have turned that cold shoulder to this degeneracy and this whore culture and this simp culture, may we be forever protected. And may the Most High serve swift justice and unrelenting justice on those degenerate ones who would keep us from performing his duty on this planet at this time. See, the thing is, I want you to also understand this. The black American men of the past, they're at fault for the current condition the black American community is right now, because they were too afraid to put these out of control women in their place. But see, here's the difference between us and them. We're not our ancestors. Now, some of you will say the dominant society seduced black women and drew them into the civil rights. They drew them away from the civil rights movement and drew them into feminism. Right? You'll say that they created these middle management jobs and these government jobs, and that drew them away, and that further alienated them from the black family. That's what you say. Some of you say that this all started in the 60s because of integration and feminism and the sexual revolution. Some of you say that, it was welfare. Some of you say that these women, once they learned that all they had to do was call 911, if a man raises his voice at them, then they begin to use the state to exercise control over us. And men realize that, hell, if I had an altercation with a Western woman, then she calls 911, the cops will be there quick, fast, and in a hurry, and I will become one of the bodies in the prison industrial complex. So you basically say it wasn't their fault. You saying that the ancestors had so much going on, they were blue pill simps confronting them, racist folks. They didn't have internet, so they couldn't probably communicate. They couldn't share knowledge. There was no media. They didn't have a voice unless they was gangster or singing some R&B songs, or they was somebody from the alphabet community like RuPaul. Those are the only people that had the voices. Some of y'all are saying there just wasn't much that black men could do because the government stepped in and subsidized splitting up the black family through public assistance and regulations. My response to that is similar to what Kanye West said with his crazy self. We chose to be slaves. Now, let me explain that. Time and time again, I've said that there's been a lack of backbone and willingness to die for what you stand for that has inadvertently put us in the position that we're in right now, backed into a corner at the bottom of the trenches. Now, the thing is, fellas, what you have to understand is we know what we are. And because of that, we're battle hardened. We're numb to the nonsense that interferes with our goal. We will achieve our goal of stability in the black community, either this black community or the one that we recreate and we rise up, that rises up like a phoenix, rises up out of the ashes. So this community that we have is in battle. It is toxic and it's on its way out. But in order for us to bring about a new community, we are going to have to step in the cut and do what our ancestors couldn't do. And yes, some of us are going to have to put it all on the line. I just explained to you all that I'm under attack. The hate that I've received, the hate emails, the threats that I received, I'm still in this motherfucker because that's just how I'm built. And if I, as one man, can stand up for you, surely we all can stand up for each other. Now, what you need to do, brothers, you black men need to begin to harshly ridicule these out of control, shameless modern women. And what you need to do is help and allow the good women to help you with that. See, the good women were afraid to do it before because these broads are out of control. They're ridiculous. A good woman stands up and says something about these women. They call them mammies. What else do they call them? Pick-me's. And they might fight them. But let me help you out with something else too. You're still going to have simps come in to try to protect these rotten assholes. And I want you to understand something. And I've said this before. Those simps that want to so-called protect these black women in their degenerate state and don't want us correcting them as harshly as they need to be corrected, they are enemies to the black community, period. I don't care if they call themselves black powerites. I don't care if they're part of a so-called Black Power Revolution organization. If they want to stop you from correcting these black American women who are twerking on tables and cussing each other's out and got 4 or 5 kids by 4 or 5 different men, and they are gluttonous, practicing witchcraft, flying on broomsticks, they are the enemy to the black community. Anybody who would stop you from correcting them is your enemy. Think about that. The other thing, fellas, in vetting these women, who's a good woman and who's not a good woman, pay attention to any female who got some kind of defense when you're giving truthful critiques about the bad behavior of these women. They'll hit you with some garbage like, oh, that's not all women. See, the thing is, if she's not co-signing fully 100% in what you say, then she's one of these whore sympathizers, period. And you got to cut off. See, it's the good ones that have been given tacit approval to the bad behavior of these rotten assholes, these bad ones. That's part of the problem. And we as black men, we call each other out all the time. And so those women have no excuse at this point because they see us taking us down the toilet. Ladies, if you behave like a lady, then you'll be treated like a lady. But there's no room in society for these no good women. It's time to bring back public shaming and ridicule. The balance is so out of whack that it's going to take an extreme and harsh response by black men. And you have to be the leaders in this. This is the only way we're going to level everything out again and save our community. Now, as black men, brothers, we got to stop rewarding these rotten, degenerate women with time, attention, and resources. The reason we have so many rotten women right now is because we have been rewarding these rotten women with time, attention, and resources. That's why we got so many hoes now. What we need to do is give the good women, the supportive women, the wife material type woman, the good girlfriend type woman, the good mother type woman. We need to give them everything that we have been giving to these rotten assholes. And if we begin to do that, then we will get more good women and have less bad women. Now, the thing you got to understand, verbally, you could put a woman in check, but it doesn't really matter. What you really need to do is take your things away from her, take your attention away from her, removing your value away from her, leaving her alone, leaving her lonely. You wouldn't reward a dog for tearing up the garage, would you, and destroying the carpet and chewing the walls up, would you? No, you tie him up in the backyard and let him be by himself. Yet we reward women who exhibit this destructive behavior by giving them praise, giving them rap albums, giving them movies, giving them wedding rings, making excuses for them, thus giving them our good graces. Now, it's to you good women who are listening. A lot of you don't want to separate yourself from these rotten, degenerate women. You won't abandon that part of the sisterhood. And if you do that, then understand that you're choosing to go without the blessings of these good men. You won't be able to stay in touch with us if you're trying to stay in touch with them. You're going to be lonely, depleted, dysfunctional, and toxic. And you're going to be living in that mismanaged village with those women. So make your decisions now. Separate yourselves and don't get confused. Now, the other thing, fellas, something you can do immediately, begin to unfollow these thirst trap Instagram, TikTok, Twitter users. That's one of the biggest issues right now. Men need to stop clicking likes and hearts and sending sexy reaction comments to some of these women who are out here misbehaving. Don't do it. I don't do it. I never have. If you treat her like a celebrity, she's going to treat you like a fan. Stop hitting the like button all the time when you see half-naked women on social media. All you're doing is rewarding this degenerate mindset, this false empowerment mindset. There are beautiful women everywhere. There are good women everywhere who are beautiful. Remember that. Appreciate that and give them the attention. Stay off the like button for these degenerate broads. And the other thing, we got to do something about these simps who got women's heads blown up like they have options even after they've lived a degenerate life up to about 25, 30, 40 years old. And you wonder why we still have women living in delusion. We need to check these men. Now, that said, I appreciate y'all. I'm going to go ahead and bring my guest. I said before, I believe in rewarding good women. Some of you ladies, some of you folks may not know this. I'm going to give you a quick look at who I'm bringing in, okay? This young lady has made a name for herself on TikTok. TikTok. Shout out to Wrench Turner. Thank you so much. Y'all hit the number 1 button. Let me know if you can hear me. Y'all still with me? Did I run y'all off? I know that tough talk kind of runs y'all off. Look at this right here. This young lady here, Lady Nuria, I hope I pronounced the name right. Lady Nuria. She has basically turned her TikTok page into a page that rebuts some of this nonsense that comes out by these ladies. I'm gonna let y'all hear and y'all tell me what y'all think, because this is All right, they're telling me y'all can't hear the sound. That's okay. Hold on a minute. I actually can play this for you because I actually have this one saved. I just wanted to show you guys my TikTok page. I mean, I wanted to show you all what she says on TikTok. So y'all hit the number
Black
one button.
man tripping. Do you mean tripping when he kills us every 5.5 to 6 hours every single day?
So, according to Ebony, Black women do not kill Black men. It's Black men that are killing Black women. And I see that a lot of these women say that every 5.5 hours that there is a murder of a Black woman that's being committed by a Black man. So I decided, let's see what the Department of Justice has to say. They have statistics. So let's take a look at that. So according to the Department of Justice and the characteristics of the domestic violence victims, 54.9% of those victims are male, 45.1% are female, and of that number, 14.3% are Black. Now, there is no differentiation between male or female. It is just Black. But if 54.9% overall are male, you do the math, you add it up. But wait, there's more. Here we have a Black woman who is charged with stabbing her husband 140 times. Before you say she did it out of self-defense, no. She stabbed him because he filed for a divorce from her. Here we have another Black woman who's charged with killing her boyfriend. And again, before you say she was doing it out of self-defense, she shot him because he was trying to leave her. She also sent a text to his mother prior to shooting him, telling her that she was going to kill her son. Here's another Black woman who's charged with shooting her husband while he was in the shower. So the theme here, and I'm going to keep it going with this one, is that this was not done out of self-defense either.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in. Shout out to you. Thank you so much.
Hi.
How are you doing? Thank you so much for that very informative video. And I will tell you now, it means a lot more coming from you than it would from me, because you hold the position of being a Black American woman. And so it's almost like, well, if she's saying that would definitely go against her own interests. And so, yeah, we're more willing to give that more credibility. Thank you so much again. I appreciate you. And shout out to Joan J, because Joan J is the one who introduced me to you. And just go ahead and introduce yourself to the good fans here, the good fans and subscribers.
Well, my name is Naraya. You can find me on TikTok at Lady Naraya. I also am creating a YouTube channel here because TikTok has a lot of community guidelines and restrictions, and they keep blocking me or whatever. So I'm also on YouTube at Naraya Shiloh Podcast. What I do is I protect and I defend Black men from women. I especially protect Black men from Black women, but it doesn't stop there. If I see an Asian woman saying something, I'm going to say something. I say the things that you all can't say. And I put myself on the front lines for you all when it comes to women, because these women are totally out of order and they need to be corrected and checked. And that's what I do.
What motivated you to do that? Are you like daddy's favorite daughter or something like that? Do you have boy children? I mean, what is it that motivated you to put yourself in front of this freight train of anger from these women? Because I've exhibited, I don't really give a crap about it, but what is it that motivated you to put yourself out there like that?
I have a son. I have grandsons. I have great men in my life. I have, I see wonderful men, all around me. So I really started going deep into this once I got on TikTok. I didn't realize that this was like a thing. Like, I heard of the divestor movement, but I didn't know that it was as crazy as it was until TikTok. And then when I started seeing the things that they were saying about Black men, and I have a Black son, and I have Black men that I love in my life, like, no, we're not doing this. And I saw that the narrative was the behavior that these women are displaying is a reaction to Black men. So it was no accountability for them. It was, well, I'm doing this because you're this way. And if you weren't this way, then I wouldn't do this. So I started off with holding women accountable because I'm a woman. I know the head games that we play. I know the things that we do, you know? And so that's what made me start, was the love of the men that I have in my life.
But that is magnificent. So, you know, the irony is that I find that most of these women doing this complaining about what they say Black men are doing, they haven't actually experienced it themselves. They are basing their feelings about Black men on something that they heard from women. In my books, I talk about the shared experiences of women. Women emote together. Little girls sit around and listen to their sisters and aunties and grandmothers talk about the men they love, and then they share those experiences. Women call that emotional intelligence. Men don't have that. We barely talk to each other. You see, we have anger, we have a little bit of happiness, but for the most part, we are separate and apart. So our feelings are often individualized, and we don't share the experience of other men unless it's like playing football or we've gone to war together and we're like battle buddies. That's really the only time we have those shared experiences. Women, on the other hand, they can take upon themselves the experiences of other women, and it could be as real to them as if they experienced it themselves. I think that's why the other day, when I had a young lady on here who had a great father, who was married to her mother, who had 10 children. She has a Black husband. She has 7 children by him. She's a housewife. Yet she herself was saying, I'm still a divestor. These men ain't no good. And she got 5 sons. And it's impossible for men to understand that you got a good man. But see, she inherited the feelings of her sisters who had bad experiences. What would you say to these women who are not legitimately angry with Black men, but they've inherited the bitter, hard feelings of women who they may know and love and who they have shared experiences with? What would you say to those women who aren't legitimately angry with Black men?
Those are the ones that I combat with, you know, most of the time, because a lot of them do not have any of these experiences. Like you said, a majority of them are married to Black men, have Black boys. And I'm like, what are you going to be teaching your sons? What are you putting off on your sons? I've come to the realization that this is a hot movement right now, right? Hating Black men on social media is going to get you followers. It's going to get you likes. It's going to get the controversy. It's going to get people talking. I don't think a lot of them actually believe that. I think they perpetuate that in public, but there's no way in the world that a woman that is married to a Black man, have 6 Black sons, is a housewife, is doing all of this crap that she's saying on social media. I think it's all just a bandwagon thing for a lot of them, because they all talk the same narrative, the same talking points. They use the same words, the same verbiage. It's like carbon copy. None of them have any original thoughts or any original experiences. We hear the same things over and over and over again.
Right. And you know, the thing that I find, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Naraya, is that right?
Correct.
Naraya, beautiful name. So the thing that they don't realize is that they are helping perpetuate negative stereotypes that the dominant that escape the Black community and are picked up by members of the white community in the judiciary, in the education system, in law enforcement, and pretty much every other place that, you know, that is important, where the systems, the heads of these systems. And so when they hear your own mothers and sisters and women in general talking bad about you, that gives them the proof they need to substantiate what they may believe themselves. And so when they see a young Black boy, they see deadbeat daddy, even if he doesn't have children. I pointed out that 55.48% of Black men don't have children. 33% of Black men are married. That eliminates 88% of Black men. So where are these 69% of Black women who are having children out of wedlock? Where did these babies come from? It came from that 12% of Black men that they keep choosing and they keep impregnating. So if you had if ladies, if you've had a bad experience with a man who has other children by other women, damn it, that's your fault. You could have talked to her and she would have told you he's a jerk. You know, why deal with him?
But you know what they say, right? He tricked me. He made me do it. He manipulated me. He made me think that he was going to be different. So I decided to be baby mama number 9 because I thought it was going to be different. Like, they have an excuse for everything.
So basically what they're telling the world is that we're children and we have poor judgment and we need to be monitored and we need somebody to think for us. And that goes exactly against what feminism tells us, that women are independent and strong. How can they speak out of both sides of their mouths like that? How can you be strong, independent, and don't need adult supervision on one hand, and on the other hand, be fooled by someone who doesn't even have a high school diploma? How does that work?
They're a joke. And I call them hyenas because that's what they do. They're just like little scavengers, and they are a joke. Women are emotional, right? And so you can never, this feminist movement is a joke because it's saying that we want to be equal to men, but you cannot be equal to a man for a number of reasons. But the fact that we are emotional and make decisions based off of emotion and not reasoning and logic and data and statistics, just how we feel, it's a joke. They're a joke.
See, the thing is, Sister Narai, is that men are now taking women seriously. You want to be independent? Maybe our forefathers still try to, give you the benefit of both worlds. But this new group of men, they're turning that cold shoulder to these women. They're saying, okay, you want to be independent? Go ahead and be independent. I'm not going to help you take care of your children. I'm not going to supplement your income by taking you out to eat. 30% of women said that they have gone out on dates with men just to eat. So these guys are saying, hell, if you're in a gymnasium, in a fitness gym, and you get stuck under some weights, I'm not even willing to help you with that. This is how bad it's gotten. But here's the thing, and I want you to hear me on this. There are good women out there who are going to suffer because these bad women are giving women such a bad reputation. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing that I like to ask them is when they say that they're independent, unpack that for me. What does that mean to be I'm independent? What, because you pay your bills, because you go to work? That's basic adult things that we all have to do. It doesn't make you independent. That's number one. I hate the fact that we get a bad rap because of these modern women. But I have to say, and I'll get back to your point. I think that I'm Generation X, right? I think that my generation created these young women that we have today. All of these old 304s is living vicariously through these young girls now and teaching them all of the tricks of the trades and the things that they wish they could have done, which is why we have these modern women that we have right now. I think that men are smart enough to recognize a woman that is not that way. You can tell by her aura. You can tell by the way that she walks, the way that she speaks, that she is not like those women because they can't help it. They exude this energy that is smells of entitlement, that low class, with the twerking and the way that they are just exposing every nook and cranny of their bodies. So I don't think that we all get a bad rap from them because men are smart enough to see the difference, because I don't have a problem with men. Like, I'm married though, but when I come across men, they treat me with respect. So I don't get what these women are saying when they're like, black men, they don't protect, they don't this, they don't that. That's not my experience with black men.
Yeah. Shout out to Project 8020. Here's the problem. The problem is there is no distinguishing line between the good women and the bad women. How do the good women dress? How do the good women talk? It seems to me that they all talk the same. They hang out in the same places. They do the same things. They watch the same TV shows. And so because of that, men are like, it's too difficult to tell the difference. And if there is a good one, most of them are already married. They get swooped up and taken off the market very early on in life. So my thing is this, and I have a warning for the good women, for those for those women like Lot's daughters who are willing to move forward and not look back, you need to begin to distinguish yourselves. And one thing that you can do to begin to distinguish yourselves is be like the Crimson Cure, be like Shay Sade, be like yourself, and be an advocate for black men. Don't just sit by quietly and see who wins. No, you got to step out while men, especially black men, are willing to provide cover, and you say your piece too. See, I can be harsh. See, I don't hold back. I call them everything they need to be called, everything that's allowed to be called in the Holy Scripture. The Bible refers to them as whores. I chop it up. Well, I speak the Basque language, and dias hoas is actually, it means come here. So I'm actually not saying anything profane by stating these hoes. Okay, dias hoas means come here, and I'm of course fluent in Spanish and English and other Latin languages. And the Basque country is right between Spain and France. So, you know, this is why I say, but nevertheless, these hoes need to be separated and partitioned away from good women. And I need the good women to openly be advocates for black men. That is what makes you an ally. See, here's the thing I want you to understand. Black men don't trust black women anymore because you have so many chameleons in the black community. On one day they say, oh yeah, we support the black men. The next thing they taking trips down to Jamaica, getting their backs blown out by some rent-a-dreads. So they don't know who's good and who's bad. So how, you know, what motivated you? Again, like I said, you spoke on it earlier, but we need more women to be advocates. How do we get women to go ahead and step out their shell and say, look, it's time to speak up? What motivating words do you have for those women that would, but aren't right now?
I would say if you are a mother of a son, it's your responsibility to go ahead and try to, you know, make it better for your son. If there are men in your life that you love, uncles, fathers, just friends, like good men in your lives, it is you're obligated. And that's the thing, because I was listening when you first started talking, and you were talking about code and being on code. We need to be on code. We need to create a code amongst ourselves for us to be able to thrive and get through this. Now, all of these women are not going to get it. We're not going to be able to save all these women, right? Yeah. So we need to still be able to reach some of them. So we need to be on code where we are not dismantling our men in public, because we are the only race of women that do that. And I think that if these women start seeing more of us combating these Cynthia G's and all of these divestors, then they will feel confident, like, okay, we have a team. It's scary being out there. When I started doing this, I was on that ledge by myself, you know, but then as I started doing it more, I started meeting more sisters who are doing the same thing. Some sisters telling me that I inspired them to want to go ahead and be an advocate for black men, you know. So it's just a matter of just doing it. If you got a black man in your life that you love, it's your job to get out here and protect him. That's it from these wicked women.
So what I want to do, you mentioned a person's name, and you know, only this week I just start actually mentioning this person's name. I want you all to understand something, that what we're talking about in our tone of voice is not extreme, considering some of the extreme things that are being said online by a certain segment of Black American women. It is spreading. We are at the point now, there's a group of women who are advocating the abortion of black male babies, a literal genocide of black male babies, and it's catching on. Listen to this commercial. We'll be right back. I want to get Ms. Naraya Shiloh's response to this.
And the only reason I support aborting a black child when it comes to it being male is because when I look at the black community and the problems in it, it's associated with males and male pathology. When you talk about violence, it's associated with the males. When you talk about the women being forced upon. It's the males. When you talk about drugs, it's the males. When you talk about the fatherless children, it's the males. Every single problem that is happening in the Black community, you point to the males and then you have the culprit. So for me, I think that not selectively breeding is very irresponsible when you are the only one who has control over who gets to Earth. Your womb, it carries the person to Earth. So if you're the only one with that power, regardless of whatever he wants, I feel like if Black men want Black women to give birth to their children, then they need to act like it. They need to go out. They need to clean the community up. They need to stick around, raise their children, stop being violent, stop forcing themselves upon women, stop toe tagging us every 5.5 hours, and then we won't have a problem with having your children. If they were being responsible, this conversation wouldn't be happening right now.
At least one. So here we have a soldier on the front line in the war to eradicate Black men right here. Done it before and we'll do it again. She ain't playing. She ain't playing. Here we go.
All right, welcome back. So, ma'am, I mean, to some people, that's shocking. But to those of us who've heard that banter over the past 3-4 years, it's not shocking. There's really a movement of Black women who are saying we're going to abort when we become pregnant. Yes, with the bag, already Black women have already aborted 20 million Black babies since 1973 we returned. What are your thoughts on that? And in that particular movement, and is it me or is that seem?
First of all, that hurts. That hurts my spirit when I see and hear things like that. Next, these boy babies, these male babies you're talking about, they coming out of your funky womb. They're growing inside of you. You're raising them. When they do good, you want all of the praise. When things go wrong, then it's because they are male or the father wasn't there. Then, I mean, which one is it? You're creating the men that you hate so much. You know what I'm saying? So I really can't rationalize and understand where they're coming from and why they say the things that they're saying. I just know that it hurts just listening to that. They also are saying calling Black men bullet bags and laughing about it. They're saying that they find it sexy when a white police officer beats up a Black man. It turns them on. Now, I don't know if this is just for like that Howard Stern shock jock kind of stuff, or if they really mean it.
I think at this point it doesn't matter, because people, third parties who see this, they're saying it, so people have to take them at their word. And this is an example of what Ms. Shiloh is talking about.
Got good news. Yes. Every 18 minutes, a Black guy is now killed by the police.
That's what's up. I think we can get it down to 15. Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I'm going to let y'all listen to that one more time, just in case you didn't hear. But the lady is saying, well, listen again, and I'll listen
Got
again.
good news.
Yes.
Every 18 minutes, a Black guy is now killed by the police.
That's what's up. I think we can get it down to 15. Blue Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Now, what that lady is saying on the World Wide Web for everybody to hear and posterity and for the next 50 years is that every 18 minutes a Black man is shot by the police. That's not true, because at the end of the day, every year about 200 Black men are shot and killed by the police. So it's not every 18 minutes. More importantly, as Ms. Shiloh pointed out, Black men are not eliminating Black women every 5.5 hours, because if that was the number, it would be, a couple of thousand every year. And that's just not true. In domestic violence situations, the most recent numbers, and I have put them up, there's about 200 Black women who are killed every year and about 150 Black men who are killed every year by Black women. So it's not it's just ridiculous for them to say that. Nevertheless, even when confronted with the truth, with facts from the CDC, they still deny it. But you know, Miss Shiloh, I mean, you see, my problem is this: like, it's great having women like you and the Crimson Cure, and all the rest of them, Shay Shaw. It's great having y'all, but where have y'all been when this was? I mean, where were y'all when this thing was in its infancy stage?
I was oblivious. I had no clue. I wasn't seeing this on Facebook. I wasn't seeing this on Instagram. I saw this once I got on TikTok. And once I got on TikTok, I was like, you know what? I don't want to make content dancing and laughing and making jokes. Like, this is some life or death crap like we dealing with right now. You know, and it became my mission to do that. If I would have known or been aware earlier on, I would have definitely been on board to combat these witches. I definitely would have done that. But I kind of came in the game a little late, but it's never too late. They know not to play with me. You know, they don't mess with me.
You know, Ms. Shiloh, I think it's very similar to our situation. You and I are both members of the X generation. But when you say things like, I didn't know, remember, we didn't just start off at the point of, oh, it's time to abort black male babies. They started off with TV shows castigating and denigrating black men like Oprah Winfrey every day, Sally Jesse Raphael. They had movies like Waiting to Exhale, and The Color Purple was a Negro classic. Where they just found every Tyler Perry movie that's ever been a play or movie just always show these negative stereotypes of black men. Either he's rich and he's abusive, or he's poor and, you know, he has he's great guy but he's poor. So either way, the men are always inadequate, or they're you know, cheaters and these sort of things. So my thing is, it built up to this point. Why didn't those women who came before you, who recognized that passive hate that was directed towards black men, why didn't they step up and say, hey, you don't talk to our son, you don't talk about our sons and our husbands and our fathers like that? Why is that? Why didn't those good women say that? I mean, I appreciate you saying what you're saying now, but why didn't they step up before it got to this extreme?
Are you talking about our generation, Generation X, or the one before us?
Well, typically the one before, because you know, you're Generation X, which means you've just reached your early 40s, which means now it's your time to lead. Yeah. You see what I mean? But as a young 20-year-old, I could understand why you wouldn't have the consciousness to understand, hey, this movie called Waiting to Exhale is, this movie called Color Purple is BS. It's negative. This portrays black men in a negative fashion. But then, so why is it that it took so long for those women who came before you to step up?
Because they were the women that were being incentivized to get rid of their men, you know, in the 70s and the 60s, right? And then in the 80s when we had the crack epidemic. So they weren't good. They're the ones that perpetuated the independent woman syndrome. Go to work, you know, I can do what men do. So that's what they were teaching us. You know, and based on everything that I received growing up, I should be one of those divestors. I should be one of those, I don't need a man. But innately, that just wasn't in my spirit to be. But the generation before us perpetuated all of that mess. That's why we had The Color Purple and The Women of Brewster Place and all of those movies. You know, but
well, all this talk we got to put the blood of Jesus on this. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break.
Under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus cover me under the blood, me say me under the blood. Jesus, you may cover me under the blood. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me, I go break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. In the morning when me wake up, and the blood of Jesus me take up. And when me feel like me heart break up, put the blood on me face just like a makeup. Under the blood, under the blood, Jesus cover me. Jesus, you be cover me. Under the blood, me say me.
Praise the Lord. Praise God. Praise God. I try to bring that in here to bring the Lord back in here sometimes because it gets a little too tight. Now, I want to again welcome you to the broadcast. Here's the thing you got to understand about this page. I very rarely ever talk to women on this page. Like, you might be like the fifth one in like 2,000 episodes. It's really just me and a bunch of dudes on here. So, because I find that speaking to women is fruitless because they don't listen. They don't want to listen. There's plenty of people who came before me who told them the same thing. So I don't waste my time. What I do is I tell black men, hey, you're free. Go find other options. And based on the fact that you got a group of women who are openly advocating the murder of unborn black baby boys, applauding when black men are being shot, it's pretty clear that they don't like you. Matter of fact, it's pretty clear that they hate you. And the other women who are standing by not saying anything about it, you know, if they're good women, we don't need good women like that. So you know what, fellas, get your passports and go. Now, I haven't asked you about your opinion, but what are your thoughts on what we call the passport bros?
Oh, I'm with it. I love it. Like, I mean, how much is somebody supposed to take? How much abuse? How much insults? How much is somebody supposed to take before they say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and exert other options? Like, women do it too. You know what I mean? I just did a video about that on my channel, about passport brothers. And I don't understand why women are so upset, because these are the men you said you don't want anyway. These are the men that you said was Pookies and Tyrones and Dusties and they live in a mama basement. Why are you mad that they're leaving? Right? See, what it is black women want to act up, be able to do what they want to do. You waste all of their good years, and then they want the black man just to sit around and wait for them until they're ready to now come to them after they've been all used and abused. You know, 50 years old now, it's like, here I am. No. I think that men should do and go wherever they need to find happiness. Would I prefer for black men to marry black women? Absolutely, because I love my people. But I don't expect you to just stand around twiddling your thumbs in the hopes that that women start acting right. Go get them passports and go do that.
So, you know, here's the thing. I mean, what's the eventual outcome? Let me get that back up out of here. Praise Moses. Now, but the thing is, if black men start traveling overseas, then it's gonna speed up the process of what's already happening now. I'm gonna lay some stats on you. We have a 1.7 birth rate, which means that we have a less than replacement level birth rate. I see the miscegenation, the admixture going on. It's hard to get little black boys who don't have girlfriends to even talk to little black girls, because they're learning about little black girls in school. Like, she loud, as opposed to this little cute Asian girl or this Latino girl who's sweet to me and is not as loud. How do you convince? I mean, we're looking at a dying ethnic group. You know, there'll always be Africans on this planet. There'll always be people of African descent in America. But my God, are we willing to allow that to happen on our watch, for our whole foundational black American group just to dissipate? You know, some of us aren't. Some of us are. Don't we have an obligation to fight for the community?
We do, but you know, men and a few women are the ones fighting, right? I think that a lot of these black women, white men have started to pay attention to black women, right? And this is where I think that a lot of it is coming from too, is they have this zaddy complex thing now, because white men are looking at them and now they're like, I have options. I don't have to be with you now. But the thing about it is they only want to be with you because they need your melanin, because their numbers are so low. It has nothing. White people have always fetishized us, right? We were fetishes to them. And now all of a sudden that they're looking at you, you feel that your own man is not good enough for you anymore. And I think that's where a lot of that is coming from too. And so,
you know, I want to interject something. I think that black women have always thought that black men weren't good enough for them, which is why you can take. Oh yeah, I think that they've always seen us as the beta male, and that no matter what, we are always the consolation prize, and that white womanhood, who is always her ultimate goal. In other words, what I'm saying is she wants to be treated like that white woman. The white man is the alpha male in this country, in this nation. And like most women, she wants to be with the alpha male. And she can't get that alpha male or alpha female status unless she's with the alpha male. So she won't get that praise. She won't get that social status that white woman gets. But see, here's the thing, and I want black women to understand this. You will never be that white woman. And that white man is never going to choose you in droves. White men, even now, only marry black women at 1%. Now, let me tell you what they do. Let me tell you. let me tell you what the statistics demonstrate. Oh, shout out to my girl Crimson Cure is up in here, man. Crimson Cure, I'm a big fan of her. You know why? She calls me sweetie every time I donate money to her, and it just makes me melt. She's the only one that can turn me into cuddly D. Other than that, I'm mean as hell. But so shout out to the Crimson Cure. Thank you so much. What else we got? Shout out to Dusty Nuts. That's one of my dudes. We need sisters to go full court press on them. And how come they are not considered a hate group for that sickness? That's true. Y'all need to contact the Southern Poverty Center on their butts. Let me see who else we got up in there, because now that we take Clarence Everett, he said Matt Fee, us. Shout out to my jiu-jitsu family. Who else we got up in here? Dusty Nuts again. That ad lib in the background gets me every time. Praise God. Praise God. I got a few jokes. I don't know if you know, I got a few jokes. Big up King Adams, thank you so much. Who else we got up in here? Russ, 199, thank you, bro. Let me see who else. And I normally don't do this because I like the flow to go. Crimson Cure, shout out to the super sticker. Thank you so much, Crimson Cure. You are always appreciated and welcomed on this page. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your staunch advocacy. We need about 3 or 4 million like her and about 3 or 4 million like you, and we could chastise these broads back into conformity. Nevertheless, back to what I was saying, black women want to achieve white womanhood. They want to be the apex female. They want to have the social status of that white woman. Every woman wants that. I get it. I understand it. The problem is you're not going to have it in this country. Our greatest leaders, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, said you got to separate yourself from these people. You got to go back to Africa. Why? Because the people in charge of these African countries look like you. They look like black men. And so the people over there have respect for black men. You're not going to get the respect that you're supposed to get as a man in a country where you're not visibly next to the levers of power. So what does that mean? That means you're never going to get what you're going to get. And as I tell my people all the time, a stolen people in a stolen land will never have peace. So black men, you're not going to get that. This is why I advocate passport bros, because Marcus Garvey, somebody who I grew up studying and reading, an African man, said we need to go back to Africa. And now it makes more sense than it ever did before. So I applaud these black men traveling overseas and see what else is out there, because you're always going to be the outsider in this country, brothers. You always are. And you need to understand that you'll never have the respect that you're supposed to get from your women until you are able to wield the power. The problem is we're only 6% of this population and shrinking. So it's not going to happen. The numbers are against you. People lie, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. You're not going to be that apex power. You're not going to be the alpha male in this country. On top of that, there was never any intent to have a permanent group of descendant of Africans in this country. They did everything they could to eliminate it. It did not work. Thank the Most High for that. So yeah, that's my opinion. I think that now they're just doing what they want to do. I think now they're just doing what they've been wanting to do, i.e. they want to be able to sit at that white man's side. I find it interesting, Miss Naraya, and I keep messing his name up, Miss Shiloh. I'm going to say it like that. That sounds like a good church name. I noticed that you can take a loud ghetto chick, and she's loud and ghetto with a black dude, but then she'll be real quiet when she's at Brad.
Oh my goodness, yes. Meek and humble and feminine.
Hey, hello, Mr. Brad. How are you doing? Mm-hmm. I mean, a voice like, so it's not that they can't act as though they're feminine. They just choose not to act feminine with black men. What's up with that?
Because I think that black women have a God complex when it comes to white men. Right? Like they go to church, they see a white God. You look at all of the biblical movies, everybody in there from Moses to Jesus, everybody white. You go to work, there's a white man. That white men are in authoritative and powerful positions. So that's why I think subconsciously that's what they do. You know what I mean? Like they don't even
Some of them realize it, but I think a lot of it is just natural because we've been indoctrinated into this stuff to believe that white people are higher than us and better than us. And Black women fell for that. I did a video. One of my first videos on TikTok was called How to Destroy a Nation. And in that video, I talked about how you destroy how the nation of Black people are being destroyed. It is they got to get rid of the man. And then after that, once they break the man down, they use their woman to go against them from the inside. So no longer do you need to have the Klan come and knock on the door and drag you out anymore. No longer do the police, even though they still do it, does the police have to just kill them or they're hanging on trees and all of this. We're handing Black women, we're handing our men over. You know, every time he make us mad and we call the police, knowing how that can end up. You know, every time that we taking him to court for child support and he don't even know if it's his baby for real, and we've been screwing 3 other people, but they take his license, lock him up, and now he loses his job. You know, we're destroying our men, you know, and we're doing it for the approval of our white God, our white zaddy.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing it for.
Shout out to Dusty Nuts. I'm gonna ask you a question. I've been deliberating over this question for about 2 or 3 years now, and you know, I'm gonna ask you this, and you tell me: are Black women just inherently ungrateful? Because let me put it in context for you. When I read Chancellor Williams' book, "Destruction of Black Civilization," I noticed that when the Northern invaders came down, Black women opened themselves up, allowed themselves to be impregnated, raised the invaders' children, and it was that same buffer class of children that turned on their African family, their mother's family, the indigenous Africans, and allowed those Northern invaders to come in and take over what we have now as Africa, basically a conquered continent. I look at books like Daughters of the Trade, which took place in 1500 all the way, you know, during the transatlantic slave trade. It was African women who allowed these Dutch and European slave traders to marry into those families. They literally took care of these men and helped conduct the slave trade. They would enslave men and women. And when I look at that, it's like, damn, I'm starting to see a pattern. When I come over here to the United States, South Carolina, I believe, I forget that. What's that major city in South Carolina? Come on, y'all, give me that major city. What's the biggest city in South Carolina? Oh man. It was South Carolina, not Norfolk. That's Virginia. Give me the cities in South Carolina. But either way, I read a book, and one of the big cities in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, 60% of the Black slave owners in South Carolina, and yes, Black people did own slaves, 60% of the Black slave owners in South Carolina were Black women. And so, and then I look at the fact that, yeah, you know what, a lot of these so-called captive sex slaves in these relationships with these white men were happy to do that because it meant they get to sleep in master's bed. They got to have masters half white bastard babies. They got treated a little bit better. They butter biscuits a little warmer, had a little bit more butter on it. You see them? They get to say, my babies is my man. These are and they might mess around and inherit some money. Hell, when I look at the HR department right now in some of these white companies, them goddamn human resource directors, those Black ones, damn, they give brothers the hardest time. So it's like, it's almost like, and please put me in my place if I'm wrong, but it seems to me as though Black American women have been the best assistant to the white man in his oppression of Black people since the first Northern invader came into Africa. Does that mean we are inherently, our sisters are inherently untrustworthy? Are they inherently arrogant? Do they just think that little of us? Help me understand. Or maybe it's this. Maybe Black people are just too goddamn open in the first place, because this shit wouldn't happen in Saudi Arabia. They whooping bitches' asses over there. They stabbing people and whooping ass. You understand? Like, what is that? Like, tell me. From a woman's perspective.
I think that it goes back even further. Now, I'm a spiritual person. You know, I study scripture.
Amen.
I study scripture. I study it. I understand that I am an Israelite from the tribe of Judah, right? So I understand that that book was written for me, that by people that look like me, for me, right? And in scripture, the book of Isaiah tells us how the daughters of Zion, Black women, were so stiff-necked and haughty that the Most High punished us for that by removing the girdle from our waist, from giving us the scab on our head. So we were doing this in biblical times. I'm not sure how much you talk, not religion, but spirituality and scripture on your channel. But all of this stuff that we're going through right now is prophesied in that book. So these women are acting the way that prophecy said that they were going to act. Men were going to be lovers of themselves. This is what Black women are doing right now. Just like when you brought up Lot's daughters, when they were leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, his wife turned around because she couldn't, you know what I mean? We've been doing this since the beginning of time. It's the Eve syndrome. Eve wanted to be a god and know more and be like God, and wanted to know more than her husband, which is why she touched the tree. This is, and then convinced him to do it. So this is in our DNA. This is in the DNA of Black women.
Well, I mean, see, here's the thing, and in my opinion, and I tell brothers this all the time, and I say it just like this: you too goddamn nice. The African has notoriously been too xenophilic. He loves other people's cultures. He loves going to other people's lands. He loves their culture over and above his own. And so here's the thing, and I want all you Black men to listen to this, and I want you to hear me, because this kind of goes into what I was saying. The Asian man don't have this problem, even though he has his women. Out of all the women on the planet, marry out more than everybody else other than Latinas. Many of y'all didn't know that, but you don't hear about Latinas and Asian men talking reckless about Asian men and Latino men. They know better than that, because it's an ass whooping on the other end of that back talk. You understand me? Shout out to Dusty Nuts and shout out to Devin Townsend. You Black men are too goddamn tolerant. You take anything, you take any sort of treatment. I said earlier that we chose, or Kanye West said we chose to be slavery. And many of Black men, oh no, we didn't have a choice, because if we had rebelled, we would have died. That's a motherfucking choice.
Yep.
You see what I mean? Some people would rather choose death than enslavement. That's what that whole movie Black Panther thing was about. And y'all really don't understand that brother who wrote those movies. He grew up in Oakland. He's from that conscious community. He understands exactly the messages that he's putting out there. It's just on levels that you all don't understand because you haven't read enough history. Nevertheless, it was a choice. And so now we're in a situation where the brothers are saying, well, these women, they chose the government and we couldn't do nothing. We couldn't put these loud, disrespectful women in their place, because if we had done that, they would have called the police on us. Motherfucker, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. You see what I'm saying? But if enough of us end up in jail, because it's like we're not letting these women take our children from us, we're not allowing them to separate us from our family, shit would change. When you're willing to put blood on the line, when you're willing to put your life on the line for something that you believe strong enough, then it's going to happen. Unfortunately, fellas, we have not had the constitution that we need, the balls in colloquial terms, to put it all on the line. What you see me doing right now, speaking up like this every night, I'm pissing a lot of people off. I have a lot further to fall than most of you guys. I'm an attorney. I'm licensed all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States. I got people calling the Bar Association on me. You understand that? I got clients who say, oh, I can't do it. I got motherfuckers giving me a hard time when I'm in public. You understand me? Now, most people have been overwhelmingly kind, but I got a lot to lose, but I'm putting it all on the line as an advocate for Black men. And so if I'm willing to do this, fellas, surely you can begin to speak up for yourselves. Surely you can begin to say, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. Surely you can begin to write in and email these different corporations and companies and movie studios when they put images of Black men that are derogatory and disrespectful, or as they've been trying to do, paint us as the leader of the Rainbow Coalition with this emasculation. Surely you can begin to do something, fellas. Surely you can begin to check these super Saiyan simps who are defending the degenerate behavior of Black American women, along with checking these women. if you got people like Crimson Cure and Miss Shiloh here and Shay Charjay out there checking these women, surely you as a man can do it yourself. They can't whoop your ass. Okay, you got to begin to stand up, and it starts even your mama, even your grandmama. All of them need to be put in a place. You got to start acting like men. Miss Shiloh, please continue and add whatever else you want to add to this conversation.
I was gonna just piggyback off of what you just said. I think that a lot of these men are afraid to speak up. I don't think it's more of them being afraid. Let me take that back. I think they were trained that way from their mamas, from their grandmothers, training them up this way because they were training them to be the way that they wanted a man to be in their lives that they never had, right? So they raised their sons a certain kind of way and then sent them out there, and they were not prepared. These men weren't prepared to deal with women in the real world. So again, it starts with these strong, independent mothers who don't need men that are putting out these men out there that they hate so much.
Yeah, I call that queen mother goddess simpship, which refers to the training that tells black men that the black woman can do no wrong, that she is to be treated like the cash cow. That's what I call it, the queen mother goddess simpship. Wow. Y'all need to buy the t-shirt. But see, here's the thing. They need to recognize that there is but one God. And that is our God in heaven. That is our Most High, the Father in heaven. And that to put a woman, anybody, even if it's your mom and you love her and, and she gave birth you into the world and all of that. The bottom line is, family, she's still a human being. Shout out to my Sense 2 and Cerebral Inquiry. You got to begin to hold people to task. Stop being cowards. Fellas, listen to me. You're never going to get the respect of the other men of this world until you get your house in order. And some of these guys recognize, and y'all hear me, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I date black women. I date women from overseas. I've dated women of African descent from overseas. They respect me because I treat them just like the men in their culture treat them. Because for some reason, I came out hard, just like this. I'm unabashedly honest. Women, they might hate me, but they respect me. I don't really give a crap if a woman hates me. As long as you respect me, fellas, it's better to be hated and respected than loved and disrespected. And I want you men to understand that as long as you seek and love, then you're nothing more than a dog to these women, and they will never respect you. Sister, if you will, please continue with your phenomenal words here. Because here's the other thing I need you. Because of those queen mother goddess simp chips, they're more inclined to listen to you and what you have to say, even though it mirrors exactly what I've been saying for 2.5 years, just because you're a black woman. Ain't that something? This is how bad off we are as black men. But go ahead, sister.
Yeah, those simps come for me as well. But I got a group of brothers that follow me, on TikTok, that because I don't go back and forth with men. I understand that I have a place, right? There's an order to things. It's man, woman, child. Right. And I'm okay with that. I don't want to be equal to my man. I don't want to do what you do. I don't want to pay 50-50. I don't want to change tires. I don't want to have to deal with the stresses of the world that you do. I want to be able to be your comfort, your peace, and those things. And I have no problem doing that because it does not take away from me as a woman. And I think that that's what a lot of people women need to understand, that if you want to be strong, that's where your strength comes from, supporting your man, for him to be able to go out there and face the world and deal with all of the bull crap that he got to deal with, and you being able to help him decompress and be his peace. As far as these simps, I got into it with this guy because he said that black women are God, that they're Jesus. And I'm like, if black women you think they're God and Jesus, why do they not give any grace? They show no grace to nothing and nobody. So please don't go ahead and lie to these women and tell them that. And then, of course, he disrespected me or whatever.
He disrespected God after God told him I'm not God?
I guess I was one of the fallen angels.
Oh, but God. Right. Praise Lord.
They say things, and then when you actually make them stand 10 toes down on it, they don't know what to say. That's when the insults come. They hurt. They try to belittle you. It was great. Kevin Samuels, love him. R.I.P.
Yeah.
When he said that black women live by, what was it? The sign, where and what was the acronym for the sign? shame,
insults, guilt, and the need to be right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that is what they do. And he ain't never lied. Never lied.
You know, the crazy thing is, and I said this in my opening monologue, I don't negotiate with these folks because I understand that the only thing they understand is pain, disrespect, belittlement, and insults. Some people you can't talk to them. You can't rationalize with them. You literally got to beat them back into their place and force them to fall in line. You can't negotiate with some of these people. You just can't, because they don't care about what's accurate. They only care about how they feel and doing what they want to do. They get their egos involved. And when you're dealing with people with big egos, you just got to beat them down to the ground. I talk about this in my book. When you're dealing with the arrogant, you got to literally cut their head off because they will rise up again. You got to cause them so much pain and discomfort, they just stay in their place. That's it. And so, you know, I don't waste my time. But nevertheless, we've talked about the Lord. I'd like to Shiloh for broadcast tonight. I want to thank everybody we appreciate you all. Sister Shiloh, we will bring her to the front of the queue. Sister, we thank you, sister. We want the Lord to lay hands on you, God, and bless you with a bountiful following when you come to YouTube Creek. Hallelujah. We want to make sure, praise God, we want to make sure, can we get an amen? Make sure that we have the following that she needs, Lord. The following that she needs to help her amplify her knowledge and wealth, and help her amplify her subscription so that she can get that big check on the 21st of every month. Amen. 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 Nevertheless, this has been a fantastic conversation. I'm not going to hold the sister up all night because, you know, I'm on Negro time and I will have you here all night talking to me. It's just unnecessary. Thank you. Thank you
so much for having me. It was a pleasure. And anytime you ever want me to come back, I will be more than happy to. Thank you so much.
We're gonna have you come back and be a regular correspondent when there's some. I'm gonna need you. You can be my anger interpreter. You see what I'm saying? That can be my anger. It's the stuff that I want to say. Okay, but no, sis, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Good having you here. You welcome back anytime. Let's go ahead and make sure we show them one more time how to follow you on TikTok. Now, to me, TikTok is something I just discovered. I mean, Twitter, TikTok. It's too much. It's too much. I can't remember all these code words, man, and all these. I got the same damn password for like 3 of them. It's just too much. You know what I mean? I'm just too easy to hack because it's like I can't remember all this stuff. But either way, here is her TikTok page. What I'm gonna do is, and for those of you TikTok inclined, y'all can go follow her on TikTok. It is, I'm gonna type this, I'm gonna highlight it, and I'm gonna put it in the chat room, and so you cats can check it out. This is her right here. Let me see, bam, bam. I don't know what's up with my bandwidth. Let me see here. What's up? Okay. TikTok. If you guys can hear me, that TikTok page right there. This is her TikTok handle name. It is LADIRIAH. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and subscribe. Make sure you tell Uncle D sent you so she'll know it's from me. So is there anything else you'd like to add before we
Also, yes, if you could follow me on my YouTube channel that I'm now creating and I'm starting to put content up, and it's called Nariah Shiloh Podcast. So please subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to be
check
going
it
in.
out over there. Let's go check it out right there. Okay, well, sister, we're gonna make sure we do that. Thank you so much. Welcome back anytime. It's something you want to share when you get your channel up and rolling. Just let me know. But again, what we're talking about today, stop rewarding these hoes. Instead, punish them and reward the good women. So here's the thing, fellas, and I know a lot of you brothers is angry. You're angry at some of the sisters. I get that. Most women who are understanding understand why you're angry, but you still can have allies. You ain't got to love Sister Shiloh. You ain't got to love her, okay? But she's an ally. She's speaking up on your behalf. And as long as she keeps doing that, that's all that matters. We got people like Joan Jay, who is an Asian woman from the Philippines, speaking up on your behalf. That's an ally. They ain't got to love you. You ain't got to love them. Maybe they're just doing it because they know it's the right thing to do. Whatever their motivation may be, don't even look past that. Just look at the fact that they're an ally on your behalf, and you treat your allies well, and you treat those of you guys who read my books, I treat my allies and my friends well. I treat my enemies like shit. Okay? That is the difference between me and most people. Most people are like dogs. They treat the people who kick them in the ass well, and the people who love them, you run away from them. Ain't that what a dog do? The owner who feeds them and treats them, dog running all through the street, but the person who kick them in the ass and run away from them, they chase them. That is the exact opposite of what you need to do. You treat your allies well. That's why I brought this young lady on here when I rarely ever do bring women on my page, because I wanted to give her this opportunity to meet you all. And as long as she's saying these wonderful things and advocating on behalf of black men, she's an ally and she deserves your appreciation. Y'all go over there, check out her page. Other than that, I thank you guys so much.
Before I go, I want to say thank you to Joan. Joan was the one. She hit me up on TikTok and connected me to you. So I want to say thank you to Joan for doing that for me too as well.
No problem. Next time I had you come back and talk about these ladies on these sex trips down here to Jamaica. I just thought, how dare they? I know you talking about the passport brothers.
I got it.
Y'all
I got
here,
you.
y'all, yeah, like nah, you better be. They should have just been quiet and they could have kept getting their freak on. But
I got some good stuff for them now. So let me know.
I bet you. I'm gonna bring you back sometime soon. But in the meantime, you guys hang out. I'll be right back shortly. Men, and you're trying to dictate to us what we should do, what I should be telling these men. You came to my page to tell me that I need to tell these men that they need to come to the table with a group of women who have the highest rate of abortion, who have an increasing incarceration rate, who have the highest rate of divorce, who have the highest rate of STDs, the highest out-of-wedlock birth rate, who have known around the world for being strong, independent, and don't need a man, who have, for the past 55 years, used television, radio, mass media of all sorts, movies from The Color Purple to Stella's Got a Groove Back to tell the world that the black man is nothing. And you want me to tell these black men who trust me and love me and appreciate my opinion because I'm truthful, that, oh yeah, brother, now it's time to go back to the table because Ivy Johnson said so. That's what you want me to do?
Yeah. But we're terrified.
I am the Blizzard King. Now, what does that actually mean? What that means is I represent that cold shoulder that you're going to begin to feel from black men. And we see you for who you are, black women. We see you for the hate-filled individuals that you become because of your selfishness and your waywardness and your falling away from morality and what the Most High God wants for you. But let me tell you the difference between you and that white woman. That white woman stood by her man. Through 500 years of blood and guts, she stood by her man. And whether she liked it or not, she was right on board with him dominating this world. The Asian woman has been oppressed. The Asian man has been oppressed by 500 years of white male domination. So has the Native American and the Indian in India and the African and the Arab man, everybody. It's the white man's time to rule. Everybody gets a chance. Black people had 80,000 years, and you sat next to the black man when he ruled. For the past 500 years, the white man is ruling. Guess what you do? Instead of being good companions and getting in line and waiting your turn again, you want to crap all over the black man, even the ones that mean you well. So ladies, you're being replaced. And here's the thing, I'm not going to be nice to you about it. See, I'm not like Kevin Samuels. He tried to do right by you. He tried to teach you, but I've realized you're going to hate me anyway. So what I'm going to do is give you a reason to hate me. So when I'm called home to my ancestors, all that you say will be justified. And I'm okay with that. I am the blizzard. All right, welcome back to the broadcast, fellas. This has been a great broadcast. I appreciate you guys here. Check this out. I want to reemphasize something that I said earlier, and I don't think you guys heard me. I'm not here to be your leader, okay? I'm not the face of SYSBM. I'm not the leader of Passport Bros. I'm not the leader of any new movement that pops up. I am simply an advocate for black men. I am your lawyer for the point of in the court of public opinions. I am here for that limited capacity to speak up on your behalf, not your leader. I operate by a code, and that code says that anyone who says disparaging and negative things about black men needs to be addressed. Now, you don't have to be a lawyer or a person trained in defending people in a court of law to be an advocate for justice and what's right. For the 404 years that black men have existed in this country, we've always had a negative rap. We've always been the whipping boy. We've always been the stool and the stoop that everybody stands upon, even our women. And I'm one of those men who is tired of that, because I don't want my sons to have to bear that burden. No one is going to hold them responsible for things they didn't do. More importantly, no one is going to hold them responsible for things that black men in general didn't do. We are not deadbeat fathers. We never have been. We have been very responsible. We've helped build this country and so many other countries and defend this country and so many other countries. We've worked and worked and worked despite everything being against us, to the point that now 64% of black men have reached the middle class by the time they have reached the middle class by the time they're middle-aged. Most black men don't have children. 33% of black men are married, which is more than the percentage of black women that are married. So if you add the 55.48% of black men who don't have children to the 33% of black men who do have children, then that means you have 88% of black men who are either doing the right thing or haven't done anything at all to cause this single mother crisis. And therefore, that 12% of black men who have impregnated multiple women, they're the ones responsible. But then again, why is it that the same women keep choosing this same group of men, to the point that 69% of the children born in the United States are born to single mothers? More importantly, for you single mothers who say that black man is leaving you, getting you pregnant and leaving you, that 12% apparently. What about that 1,100,000 babies that you have by men who are not black, which is 1.1 million children over and above the 7 million children or the 7.2 million children that black men have sired? In other words, you're doing the same thing to white men, Asian men, Hispanic men, and any other group of men having their children without marrying them that you did in the black community. So who's the problem? You sisters complain about black men traveling overseas, and you fear what we're going to do to these poor people in these third world countries. But when I talk to my brothers from Jamaica, and I talk to my sisters from the Bahamas and these other Caribbean islands, those women say that these women from America are coming down here for parties and club events like hedonism and these riverboat rafts, and you're having unprotected sex, passing out STDs and sometimes getting pregnant by these foreign men in Jamaica. And you are also soliciting them for sex. In other words, you're treating them as if they're male prostitutes and they're acting as the same. Here's another thing that's even more terrifying and tragic. Many of you women are soliciting sex from underage boys, which means you have absolutely no scruples, no morality, and more importantly, you are in no position to judge black men who themselves are going overseas looking for wives, better women than you, more importantly. So, sisters, you're out of control. But more importantly, there are good black women out there. There are black women who are allies. There are women from every race who are allies to the black men, because now more than ever, they see what we've had to deal with. But more importantly, speaking on our own black sisters, there are good black women out there. And we black men have a duty to stand up and speak up on our behalf, especially since we have good black women who are now courageous enough and brave enough to come speak up. The sister Shiloh said she just didn't even know. Now, there were other women who saw what was going on and they laughed and they kikied as it was happening. But many of those women are old now. Many of those women are past their prime. They're in their 70s. What they did doesn't matter anymore. It's our time to rule. And as a black man speaking up on behalf of my generation, I'm not taking this crap from these women. I'll be damned if I lay down and allow some woman or group of women to talk bad about me in public without me saying something about it. At this time, fellas, it's time for you to stand up, straighten out your backs, and be men and speak up for yourselves. And for you men out there, you simps who are defending this degenerate behavior by black women, because to you, the black woman is queen, understand that you are nothing more than an enabler. You are her heroin dealer. You are the one that protects her and feeds her this degenerate drug, and allows for this immoral character, which is undermining our nation of black people. And you too deserve what she gets, chastisement. But because you're a man and you're in the way of progress, you are our enemy, and you need to be treated as an enemy. Because anyone who is in the way of black men correcting the bad behavior of black women, you, sir, are an adversary. Now, at this point, it's getting to the point that it's more of us than it is of you. Now, I understand there are a lot of black men who have daughters, and your natural inclination is to protect your daughter. But if your daughter is exhibiting whore behavior and you are not correcting that whore behavior, and thus intensifying the problems that we have here in the United States, then you're an inadequate father. You're a weak man, and you didn't deserve to be a father in the first place. More importantly, you're not operating by the code that you need to operate by, and you need to be checked because you're out of line. You got a new group of black men coming along. You got a group of black men who've reached the middle class. You have a group of black people who are traveled overseas and they see how other cultures work, how these other cultures, which are functional and have been functional for thousands of years, maintain roles for men and women and children. They have structures, they have ways in which they interact. And these men are now coming back to the United States and saying, I like this the way it is, and I'm going to keep this. And so because I want to keep this, I'm going to have to make sure that I do my part to instill this sort of interaction in our group, in our nation. Now, for some of you brothers, you saying, well, I married out. I married a beautiful Filipino woman. You're still black. And on top of that, if they're talking about black men, they're still talking about you, whether you married out or not. If they're talking about black men, they're talking about your black sons with that Filipino, Asian woman, white woman, whatever it is, because they're still going to have your heritage and lineage. So you still have skin in the game. You still have a dog in the hunt, and you have to open your mouths, fellas. I'm asking you to open up your mouth and begin to speak eloquently and in a dignified manner and speak up on behalf of yourself and your sons, and make sure when you do begin to speak up, you speak the truth, and you do so from a place of honest love and respect for yourself. And let that be your guide. I would like to thank you all. I appreciate the young lady who came to visit. I very rarely have women on the page. We can go months, sometimes years without having any women. I appreciate the young ladies who came in tonight and the other people. You may agree with this young lady here. You may not. There were some people who we had before. You may agree with them. You may not. This predominantly is a page for men to speak, specifically for black men to speak openly without fear of being shamed and ridiculed. We can speak honestly. We talk about child abuse. We talk about the relationships we have with our mothers. It gets really, really intimate when all the fellas get together and we share our stories. Sometimes we emote. Sometimes you may leave here in tears. Sometimes you may leave here with a big smile on your face, and it helps get you through the day. Nevertheless, we speak honestly to each other. And I think this is a good thing. And we don't hold back and we don't hide out. There was a time when we had pool halls and elk lodges and Mason lodges and fraternities and barbershops, but all those places have been infiltrated by women. So it serves no purpose to try to hide out what we have to say. And so that's why I just tell the men to speak open and honestly and don't hold back. And I think overall this has been healthy. For you all that don't hate me, you're welcome to do so. I'm perfectly fine with your hate. Your hate doesn't bother me. I want you to sit up and talk about and think about everything I say, because what I find is 99% out of 100 times, when you send men my way to try to put me in my place, I educate them, and they then become my ally because they see what I'm trying to do. I am here to fight immorality. I am here to fight what it apparently is the inevitable destruction of the foundational Black American people, the people who came up out of slavery. It is our own degradation and our own ineptability to get along and unify that is destroying us. Slavery didn't do it. 100 years of Jim Crow didn't do it. The prison industrial complex didn't do it. Crack cocaine didn't do it. But you know what is doing it? Degeneracy. Our own degenerate behavior is causing Black people to separate, saying, no, enough is enough. I'm not going to try to turn one of these whores into a housewife. You ladies, I can't depend on this no good pookie, ray shiftless motherfucker to be a father and a provider to my family. And all of them are being raised by the same group of single mothers. That's where it's coming from. So as Black men, we are the ones that you all pray for, those strong Black men that you asked for in the 70s and 80s and 90s. We are they. We are those men that you asked for. And now when confronted with us, you say, oh no, this is not love, it's hate, because you've gone so far that you don't know the difference between love and hate. You don't recognize that putting you in control and checking you and is also a form of protection and providing for your safety. But some of you all have been free so long, like loose dogs running around in the street, putting a chain on you, cleaning you up and putting you in the backyard where you can be safe. To you is slavery, is imprisonment, putting you back in your traditional role, which will keep you safe and allow you to live longer and get off some of those medications that you're taking. The self-medication, whether it be alcohol or food, allow you to push away from some of that and heal yourself. You don't recognize this is real love. So fuck it. I'll take your hate. I want you to hate me as hard as you hate anybody. Hate me as bad as you hate your daddy that your mama lied on. I want you to hate me like that. I will take all that hate and all that energy and make good things happen, because that's the gift that the Most High gave to me. You can't hate me more than the people who are supposed to love me hated me. You can't hate me more than my neighborhood hated me. You can't hate me more than my city hated me. You can't hate me more than the government that ran my city and the police who had my city and my own people in my city hated me. And the rest of the black men who grew up along with me. We all experience hate. We are the hate that hate produced. We are that group of generations. We are that group of men. There's nothing you can do to me and those of us who grew up in South Central LA and Compton and Watts and Brooklyn and Harlem and East New York and Little Miami and Arkansas and Sunnyside, H-Town and North Side of Houston. There's nothing more you can hate. There's no more hate you can there's nothing you can do to us. We grew up in hate, born in hate, raised in hate. Matter of fact, the whole country referred to us as super predators. We are perfect for the conditions that we live in right now. Unlike the men that came before us, unlike the ones that coming behind us that are looking, the young ones are like, I'm just not dealing with it. But right now, in our short, brief time to lead this nation, we are perfect. We sit at the right hand of God. We are his sword, and we are here to cut between the good and the bad and to separate the wheat from the chaff. That is our mission, brothers. And if you're listening to me right now, this is what you drafted in. And again, I am not your leader. I am simply reminding you of your obligation to this code. The reason I came back from living overseas, living in a beautiful villa and enjoying myself is because I knew it was necessary. Because I knew our God had put me in a special place, in a special position that there's not really too much these motherfuckers can do to me. I run my own business. I got my own money. I don't give a shit about what you motherfuckers think. I actually think the shit is hilarious that y'all come from me and I keep batting your ass down like mosquitoes in the backyard of some home in South Carolina during the goddamn summertime with a swamp in the back, just knocking y'all asses down. I'm like that little electronic, that electric bug killer. Zit. That's what I'm doing to haters. Zit. Zit. Another hater dies. Zit. Up. So I thank God for this position, but too much is given, much is expected. And since I'm built like the Teflon Don right about now, and there's nothing really y'all can do to me, I'm going to speak up on behalf of my people because I think it's necessary. More importantly, I'm going to speak up on behalf of myself, and I'm going to speak up on behalf of my sons and my brothers and my fathers and my uncles and my greater black brothers. Because they need an example of what strength is, fellas. And despite what comes, hey, I spoke up. And I want you brothers to begin to speak up. I want you to speak up on behalf of yourself. It's the most natural thing to do. The first law of nature is what? Self-preservation. And I want you to preserve your reputation because you live and die by your reputation. Don't let these people talk about you in the name of love. I love my queen, so I'm going to let her call me all kind of filthy, dirty dogs and thugs and criminals. And then when when the police hear about it, when they see me, they see thugs and criminals. Nah, that's passe. We're not doing that no more. We're not doing that no more, brothers. You brothers are going to plant your feet in the ground. You're going to anchor yourselves. You're going to straighten your back up, and you're going to begin to speak up on behalf of yourselves. If not for me and not for yourselves, do it for those little boys that are coming up behind you, because they don't deserve that burden. They don't deserve that heavy burden, those stereotypes that will weigh them down. Same as you didn't deserve it. But unfortunately, the people that came before us, the men that came before us, didn't have that foresight. They didn't have the will to do something about it. But we are not our ancestors, and we will, and we are doing something about it. Nevertheless, I love you guys. This is Uncle D. I hope you appreciate the broadcast. And as I always say at this time,